everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Coffee on the Ropes. I am Kaori Takee, and joining me is the lovely Sarah the Rebel.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I'm so glad you can join me, and I really appreciate your time. I brought Sarah over because one, she's my friend, and two, because she's my friend who knows wrestling and became a wrestler. I mean, I've been watching your journey. I knew you when you were a writer, and now you're doing more than just writing. It's just crazy. How does it feel being a wrestler, and what are some of the challenges that you've come across?
It's really funny because I have quite a few people who've been on that journey with me. I think I had you on the podcast before I was a wrestler on my podcast. Yeah, so this is like a funny full circle thing. But it just seemed to me like if I didn't try, I would never know. And I wasn't getting any younger. I was 28 when I started wrestling training. So for me, the biggest challenge has been overcoming a body that has been hunched over playing video games for 15 years. So, trying to actually become an athlete has really been the hardest part, but everything else about wrestling is so addictive and I love it and I'm living my dream. So it feels amazing.
I'm so proud of you too. And you are looking banging like more and more each day. I don't know, man, like this coronavirus you're killing it, literally.
Thank you. I know it's terrible to say because this is a terrible pandemic going on, but it turns out that if you take away my stress about going to the gym, I work out really hard at home.
Okay.
I'm so stressed out about going to the gym. It's my least favorite thing in the world. I know that's different from like 90% of people, but having that taken away from me, the choice being taken away from me, and just like I'm allowed to work out at home has changed everything for me. I work out every day except my rest days. I work out harder than I've ever worked out before. I'm stronger than I've ever been in my life. It's so weird.
So what do you do as a home workout?
I have a few different home workouts. I do a lot of Jake Dupree's videos for core work. There is this girl on Instagram named Abi, I believe, Rula Abi.
Okay.
He has some really intense HIIT workouts that like I can barely get through, and I'm a wrestler. And then all I have is a kettlebell, resistance bands, and plate weights. And so I'm finding and collecting workouts from various people who are like, hey, do you only have a plate weight? I'm like, yes. And they're like, I have a workout for you. And I'm like, perfect. And so I've been just using those like 3 tools and a lot of body weights. I have a pull-up bar, so I've been doing pull-ups every day. And yeah, just body weight.
I mean, fitness has obviously changed my life because a couple of years ago, I was not into working out, and now I've, started my journey as a personal trainer. So I'm watching you feel that, and I'm just so proud of you. Like, what are some things that's changed for you being more and more into fitness, other than your body looking great? And then your body shows hard work too, like you're a walking billboard of how much effort you're putting into it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Yeah, I'm enjoying, of course, watching you and watching your fitness and getting ideas from when you would post the videos at like, a few different workouts to do here and there. The ones I could do at home, I have incorporated into my.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah.
You. The number one thing that I noticed going from not being fit to being fit is the ease of small things. And that's what I appreciate the most. Going up and down the stairs, carrying groceries, carrying a lot of groceries, playing with my cat, such small little things, washing my hair. Things used to be really hard for me because I was so out of shape. Like I was not working out at all. And every little thing was an effort. Going for a walk. I went to Tokyo and I couldn't truly enjoy myself because I was so tired. Walking and I hated it. And now I can like walk forever. I can do the things that used to really be an issue for me. And I wish I could get everyone to understand that like no one's asking you to work out like past a certain point, but like if you can just take control and get past that laziness, because it is laziness. It was laziness for me.
And for me.
Yeah, and find your workout that works for you, your life gets easier and it's so nice.
It does. I think the hardest part for me is the food. Yeah.
Food is hard. So I use MyFitnessPal to track my calories.
Oh, you're tracking too? Oof, that's hard. Yeah.
But that's all I do. I don't really diet. I don't stay away from certain foods or anything. I literally just put in what I ate, and it's like a video game for me. I'm like, oh, I'm at 40% of my protein for the day. If I can I'm just gonna eat some shrimp real quick. And, like it
Yeah.
becomes kind of a game, and that really works for me personally. But I don't I still eat ice cream when I want ice cream. I still eat, I
Yeah.
still eat whatever I want. I just, the calorie app helps me do it in like moderation, which I think is
Yeah. I think that's important. I think you shouldn't fully restrict yourself of something because then you're gonna go crazy when you see it. Yeah.
yeah.
So I know the coronavirus is obviously a big pandemic that's just everyone's in this position where we don't know what's going to happen in the future. How has it affected, the wrestling circuit for you?
Well,
Can you wrestle right now or?
no, it disappeared in an instant, like Atlantis. In a day and a night, it was gone. I remember like March 12th or 13th, they started to be like, hey, we're shutting things down. And the very last place I was going to wrestle was like, no, still come. But it was an 8-hour drive there. And I was
Oh,
like, not coming because you're going to get shut down. They're like, no, we're not going to get shut down, blah, blah, blah. I didn't go. Thank goodness. They got shut down, and in the meantime, there was somebody local to me that was doing a show in a strip club with little people. And I was like, and that ended up going on because, of course, strip clubs aren't going to shut down until like someone forcibly comes in and shuts them down. So I got my like last, my
right.
last match in was at a strip club.
Oh, interesting.
And then all wrestling ceased to be. I was supposed to go to Denver. I was supposed to go to Florida,
Mhm.
England. I was supposed to go to the UK.
Oh,
So really, really sad. I've got and there were a lot of promoters who still tried to make it work, but I turned them all down, and I'm so glad I did because people were coming back with corona from these events.
oh, really?
People were getting
Yeah. I mean, the whole fact that WWE still kicking is up for debate, let's say.
dangerous at the very least. But hopefully they are telling the truth that people who say they're not comfortable are able to not do it. And I've had a few people reach out to me since, like, hey, the state's opening up. Will you do this? And I'm like, I'm so sorry. My aunt passed away last Monday from COVID.
Really? I'm sorry. Are you
And
okay?
I'm okay. I'm sad, of course, but I'm so happy that for the time she and I did get to spend together and that she was in my life.
Yeah.
But it it really drives home for other people when they reach out to you and they're like, you're being a problem by not doing this. To turn to them and say, I literally lost a close family member to this,
Mm,
helps put it in perspective for these bookers, because a lot of them are not thinking past. Some of them are. I don't want to say all of them, but a lot
mm.
of them are not thinking past, okay, when can we wrestle? When can we wrestle? Because that's our livelihood, and the show must go on is our mentality. People wrestle sick all the time.
Sure.
I don't know anyone who has ever canceled a show because they were sick. We all just show up sick and we wrestle. Um,
Uh-huh.
so that's incredibly dangerous, and the fact that people will always bring friends or family, and you don't know where the friends and family have been. So for me, I'm not taking anything until July, and even then, I'm gonna be watching people like, how are they doing?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the first one back.
So you're in Vegas right now, right? How's that? I mean, you moved not too long ago.
Yeah, so I moved for a job. I ended up auditioning in LA to be on a Vegas show. And first we went to Scotland for 2 months. We performed in the Fringe Festival. And then we got to Vegas to start the show. The show was called Atomic Saloon Show.
Uh-huh.
Funny enough, they did not know what wrestling was really, and they couldn't use us the way they wanted to. Like I months earlier, I told them, I was like, "Hey, do we have a ring? No. Do we have mats? No. Do we have ropes? Like what do you want us to do?" So they had to change the show once we got to Vegas. I actually got let go from the show.
Mm.
They weren't gonna be having wrestling anymore. So here I was, kind of stranded in Vegas because all my stuff had been moved. It was supposed to be a year-long contract. So at first I was very down. Well, about 4 days into rehearsals, the other girl got injured. And so I came back to the show for 4 months while she healed. And so it turned out everything was the way it's supposed to be. Rent is so cheap here. Can you imagine? Well, of course you can imagine because you're living it. I can't imagine
Yeah.
living in LA right now, paying the rent with the kind of work I've been. Oh my God, I would be losing my mind right now if I had to do that. So I'm so
It's
thankful the
frightening.
universe was like, here, we're just gonna put you over there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely crazy times. You've worked for various, indie wrestling companies, and What was your first match for our viewers who end up watching this? Your first match, and how did it feel for you to be? I know, like you've been on TV as well. Like, how did it feel? Your first match, like, okay, this is it. This is my actual. This is serious right now. No more practice rounds.
So my actual first match was my first match at WoW, which was against Faith the Lioness, season 1 of WoW.
Huh.
It was probably the toughest first match you can imagine because
Okay.
you're walking out to the Belasco, which is a club. It's a club, and they turn it into the stage. So it's tons of people packed in there. You're walking out to all the lights, the music, the cameras in your face, and you've got to have a match for television, and that's your first match. It was her second match because she had one like just before that, like the
Hmm.
same day. So it was just crazy. And the funniest part is the moment that I started walking towards the ring, all of my nervousness went away. Like,
Really?
yes, while I was standing there waiting when they were about to give me the go, I'm like freaking out. I'm like,
Oh,
I could run right now. No one could stop me. What are they gonna do? Sue me?
yeah.
They haven't paid me yet. But as soon as I walked towards the ring, it was like that just went away. I was like, this is my ring. I know exactly what I'm doing. These people are under my spell.
That's so
And
cool.
it just everything felt right. We had a match that the owner of WoW said was one of his favorite matches of the season. Jessica Havoc, a
Oh,
woman I've been
wow.
for years, said it was her favorite match of the day. Like it was awesome.
That's great. I mean, proud of you for like just going out there, right? What is your favorite move to take?
Take ugh.
To
I
take.
enjoy taking any moves.
I know. I'm just like to take because it's
Let me think. Which one?
to give, to take.
I have ones to give, but to take, you know what? I think I like sidewalk slams
Mhm.
because you land so flat. That's
Okay.
why I like taking those because it's like you really have to mess up the move for me to land incorrectly in that one.
Right.
I'm gonna say that one. It looks big, it makes a loud noise, but it feels very safe on my body.
And how about to give?
To give is my finisher, the trapped arm lariat.
Uh-huh. Explain your finisher to people. Or maybe we'll
So
play video over
if
this,
you
but
guys look up Stan Hansen lariat, you could see what a lariat looks like. But mine is a version where someone throws something, I catch their arm, and I throw what some people call a clothesline, but for me it's a lariat because my goal is to go all the way through my opponent into their soul and out of the next dimension.
that's
Uh,
so cool.
and it's really fun for me because I know it looks impressive and I know I hit it right every time. I did have one person bend over once and I almost knocked her ass out. And I feel
Yeah.
really bad about it, but it was her fault, not mine. So yeah, other than that, it's my favorite.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I know that I was training to wrestle. I still eventually want to learn. It's just really scary, right?
It is the biggest mental challenge. MMA fighters come to Santino Bros and quit
Yeah.
because they're like that's the thing a lot of people don't understand. They think wrestling's fake and therefore they think that it means all these different things, but wrestling is one of the most mentally challenging things you could possibly do compared to even real fighting, because in wrestling you say, hey, that thing that's coming towards you, open up and take it.
Yep.
In any other thing you do, you don't want to be hit. You would
Yeah.
like to avoid being hit. And so the mental gymnastics of getting yourself to go upside down, getting yourself to fly through the air, and getting yourself to open yourself up when you see a giant 6'2" man swinging his arm at your head.
Yeah.
Uh,
Right.
that is a really big mental challenge. And it was such a challenge for me that the first time I went through training, I actually quit.
Hmm.
I also had a back injury because, again, I'd been
Oh,
sitting.
that would be more scary to continue because
Yes, quite a few times I my back seized, and I
of.
like, when your back seizes up, you can't move, you can't walk, you can't do anything. Your back is very important to the rest of your body. I remember my ex having to like help me to the toilet after, like it was that bad.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
I needed a cane for a little bit to walk,
Oh
and
my gosh.
I was like, okay, I'm not tough enough to be a wrestler. And so instead, I worked on a lot of those Jake Dupree videos that I mentioned. I built my core up. I built my back and my core to be strong. And then I did the New Japan camp.
Yeah.
which was, I was the only woman. I was the first woman in that camp, and I was the
It's hard
only
to
woman
get in
out
there,
of
isn't it?
30 people.
Yeah.
It was the most intense thing I've ever done in my life, but getting through that told me, hey, guess what? You can do anything.
Mm.
And so I went back to training.
Okay, so what are your goals now in terms of a wrestler?
So that's the hard thing. I had
Right.
2 goals and I met them. So now I'm like, oh. So one of my goals was to be on television as a
Okay.
wrestler, and I've done it both local and national television with
Yeah. Seen
Fight
you there.
TV, with Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, with Empower, and then with OVW, and then with
Hmm.
Smile. Those are all televised. And then my next goal was I want to be able to pay rent and travel. And I did that this year. Ever since I moved to Vegas, I've been paying my rent with wrestling. And
Wow. That's amazing.
I know it is. It's like the best thing
That's
ever.
crazy. Yeah.
And I've been flown out to Florida and Tennessee and Kentucky, and just getting to really live the dream. And so now, this has been my own question: what is my next goal? Because
Mm.
WoW is such a special thing to me.
Hmm.
It's a place where women are the main and most important characters,
Mm.
where any woman, no matter what she looks like, whether she is fat, skinny, black, white, whether she is gay or straight, it does not matter. Any woman has the potential to become a champion there. There's
Yeah.
none of this weird bullshit that every other company seems to have. And so getting to
Right.
work here, getting to have these beignets, and every time before I would go to my match, the head of WoW would be like, hey, cut a promo before your match as I'm going out. Hey, cut a promo when you're done. Like the trust,
Yeah.
like where else can I go that will give me that?
Right.
And so that's why my next goal is being pretty difficult, because I know that I won't have that sort of freedom anywhere else. So I kind of would rather just keep doing WoW.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. Of course, like a lot of times bigger companies are going to give you a lot less creative control, less trust, and a lot of times people might or may not lose kind of their soul for
Yeah,
it,
I've
you
seen it
know.
happen to people.
Yeah, and I'm appreciate that you're cognizant that you don't want that.
Well, it's the difference between me and a lot of wrestlers is I'm old. I
Yeah.
started this older, and I don't have these uh, unrealistic expectations. And to be perfectly honest, unrealistic expectations is the biggest um, tool that any wrestler has in their toolbox. I truly believe that if you can be unrealistic and just believe you are the greatest wrestler in the world, you have 10 steps ahead of everyone else, because it's a great thing to have in wrestling, this
Mm.
insane belief in yourself. Absolutely. Because if I had that, maybe I would want to do all these other things, but I don't have that. I'm very
Mm.
realistic, and I'm like, this is what I like, and I want to keep doing it.
Do you have any other interests other than wrestling that you might
So
do?
I've been continuing to write. I just finished another book. It hasn't been released yet, so I can't say what it is, but it's going to be really awesome.
Ooh, a book.
People of my age group will really like it.
Okay.
And so I've still been writing and doing social media. And so this is weird. I went to a psychic on the 1st of January.
Okay.
My friend paid for it. I was like, you know what? Fine, I'll go to psychic. And she told me that I need to focus on my branding and my writing, because there's
Uh-huh.
something much bigger that I'm supposed to be doing. And she kind of hinted it would be something within the television realm, and that I need to actually do it. And I've been thinking, like, what else do I want to do? And first of all, I think I would be hilarious on reality TV, as terrible as that is. I think I'm entertaining as fuck.
What kind of reality TV? I mean, like love connection type one, or
Any of them could spawn I could be the next I Love New York. I don't know, so like I'm thinking about that, thinking about those ideas, and also then just making myself actually write and do this thing that I'm passionate about. Because part of the reason I became a wrestler is because I knew that my writing could happen at any year. I could be 65 and I can keep writing, but I can't be 65 and wrestle. So
yeah.
that's kind of how that happens. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. What do I want? What am I doing? Because I keep setting apparently way too realistic goals. I wanted to write a book. I wrote books. I wanted to work in the video game industry. I worked in video game industry. I wanted to move to LA. I wanted to become like shit. I'm
I
running
mean,
out of
You should say way too realistic. Those are really big things that you should champion yourself for, because a lot of people have those goals and they've never attained any of those things, right? Um, you're a hard worker on the
Oh,
shows, and that's great.
thank you.
Yeah, you should be proud. So the wrestling industry right now, women are, you know, starting to be more and more prominent in it. How do you feel about women in the industry right now and like their
Yeah,
role, I guess?
it's been a long time coming. For anyone watching this who doesn't know anything about wrestling, I'm going to give you the super quick crash course. In the 40s, women's wrestling was legit as heck. Mildred Burke would literally go into a crowd and be like, I'll give you $50 if you can beat me in a wrestling match. And she would pick up dudes and slam them. And $50. Like, that was real. She was like the highest paid athlete in America at that time. Women's wrestling was legit. You can go back, you can watch stuff from the 40s and 50s. You can see these women throwing drop kicks, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Then you can watch Japan, which kept that alive. However, in America in the 90s, everything went to boo-boo. Suddenly women were not allowed to wrestle. They were not being trained to wrestle. They were like having to pick up stuff on the road, and wrestling became kind of bad for women. And women were just seen as eye candy. And that was the era that I grew up watching. And luckily there was China and there was Luna for me to watch. But like, other than that, I got so disheartened with wrestling that I stopped watching it. And I found out recently, I was on a documentary with some other women that I graduated from Santino Bros with, and they said the same thing, that they fell off from wrestling. And so all of us got back into it once we saw the way women wrestlers are now, the way they're allowed to be portrayed, the way they're being allowed to do more, the way they're getting to finally main event stuff.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful time right now to be a woman wrestler and to get to be not just your body. Because one of the reasons I never thought I could be a wrestler when I was a little kid, little kids and they're like, oh, I want to be a wrestler. That's what 90% of the guys who come to Santino Bros are like, oh, it's been my dream my whole life. But as a little girl, till the age of 13, yeah, I want to be a wrestler. And then at the age of 13, oh, my titties didn't grow in.
Yeah.
I can't be a wrestler. You know, I didn't realize they were all fake. I had no idea. But
we all get these feelings.
Right. So now to finally be in a world where that doesn't matter and my face doesn't matter, and my skill on the mic and in the ring and with networking, those are the things that matter now more than anything else. And so it's a really great time, and especially with a company like WoW existing, with companies like Shimmer existing, Stardom over in Japan, there can't be any question that the women are as good as men, and now they're finally getting treated like it.
Do you have a dream match, dream opponent?
Oh my gosh, I finally thought of one the other day for the first time in my life.
And you couldn't remember.
Oh no, I can't remember who it is. Okay, well, I'll say my most recent favorite match that hasn't aired yet, I wrestled Holodead. That's going to be on season 3 of WoW, and I think it's the best match of my life. So
it's good to hear.
Okay. I had finally thought of somebody. It's hard for me because a lot of the women that I love and look up to are really hard hitters. I'm like, I don't want to get kicked in the throat. I want to watch other people get kicked in the throat. So
what about any one that you want to tag team with that you haven't tag teamed with yet?
90% of oh my gosh. Yeah, am I really just forgetting whole human people's names right now? Okay, she was in the Mae Young Classic. Mako Satomura. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Mako Satomura, I would love to tag team with her. I would love to tag with Jazz. Who I got to talk to, and that was really, really awesome. There is a local indie wrestler named Vipress who I managed for a little bit. I think we'd make an amazing tag team if we could tag. Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair.
Ooh, a lot of them.
I love tag team wrestling, so it's actually my favorite kind of wrestling, and I've been looking for a woman to agree to be my tag partner, and it's really hard.
I think tag teams are really, if they do them well, they're really good. I like the Kabuki Warriors. When they first came out, I thought, oh my goodness, it's just, they put the 2 Japanese girls together, but it kind of works. And I think a lot of it's their personality. Asuka, like, she kills it. Even though she can barely speak English, she kills it. In an empty arena. I don't know.
Yeah, her charisma just carries through. You don't know what she's saying, and you don't need to know what she's saying.
Yeah, it's fine. You're killing it. Any dream match, intergender?
Intergender dream match. I feel like I'd probably want to wrestle somebody like Kofi Kingston, somebody
Okay.
who's kind of slimmer. Like I don't like intergender matches where the odds are so stacked in one, like Vader versus me and the goal is to try really, really hard. No, I don't like those kind of matches. But matches where you look at somebody, you could say their height's not too far off, their weight's not too far off.
Yeah.
This could conceivably be a fight. So I'm gonna say Kofi Kingston and maybe like several people in my cat, hello.
Hello, cat.
Original 205 Live who aren't too bulky. Somebody that you really could believe that I have a chance. That's the type of people that I like to have intergender matches with.
Well, speaking of that, don't you feel that sometimes when they pair Hello Kitty two people together, like I think they paired Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax a while ago. Don't you think that's kind of like, oh, come on?
Yes, I do. And that's why I get mad at people who don't like intergender wrestling, because I'm like, but you'll watch The Big Show versus Rey Mysterio?
Right.
Like, I don't like it in any, I almost don't like it in any pairing because it's a set story. You're going to have to watch the exact same story every time you see that pairing. And that story is going to be the big bad person is definitely going to win unless this little person can magically use their speed to win. Like, I like interesting, different stories. I like stories that I don't necessarily know what's going to happen. And I feel like whenever you have a way bigger opponent and a smaller opponent, I'm just never as interested in the story.
Who's your, I guess, wrestling role model growing up?
It was China for sure.
Yeah. How do you feel about her passing and how WWE handled her entering the Hall of Fame afterwards? Like, how do you feel about all of that?
Oh my gosh. I've on my podcast, I have so many opinions about this that anyone can go and listen to. It's called Women Wrestling Friends Podcast. But the short version is, she was my hero. She's the reason I started watching wrestling, because I was flipping through channels and I saw China. And I was like, who is this woman? I want to be this woman. And to know that despite being the first woman in the Rumble, despite getting to wrestle dudes, despite, I think she was a cruiserweight champion at one point. I know Miss Jackie was as well, and I love Miss Jackie too.
Yeah.
But like getting to see all of that and then knowing that for something that they wanted her to do, that they're trying to say that she can't be in it. And it seems like, just like with the NFL, because I was talking about this with the owner of WoW, actually, men can do all sorts of things and it can kind of be brushed under the rug. But a woman having agency over her sexuality, to advertisers, to sponsors, this is the most frightening possibility they can imagine. And it's the thing that absolutely is not allowed. And that just hurts me so bad that China had to wait all this time. Like she's undeniably a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, even to this day, she's done things that women haven't done.
Yep. And if you watch her chain wrestling, if you go back, because a lot of times I have this too, because I was young when I watched wrestling, right? So sometimes I wonder, was this person as good as I thought they were? If you go back and you watch the match, you watch her versus Dean Malenko. If you watch old Jacqueline matches too, if you watch old Luna matches, as long as they're not versus Sable, because bless Sable's heart, you can actually see that these women could wrestle. And for the limited amount of training they were allowed to have at that time, it's pretty amazing to see watch their footwork, watch where they end up on the mat, watch the story that they're telling, watch how they position themselves. Like, they knew what the fuck they were doing. And I don't know if fans can see it as much as people who've actually been through a little bit of training can and appreciate, but like, these women really were awesome. It's not just our memories of them,
Yeah. Well, you're talking about training, and I know that I've always wanted to train, and I trained a little bit, just not enough. What happened with Santino? Are they closed right now? Like,
so
okay.
They couldn't afford to pay rent without any money coming in. They can't hold classes, of course, because of the virus and the 6-foot rule. You can't train and be 6 feet away from somebody.
Yeah.
They had to shut the school down, and they had to make a decision once it got to the second month of paying rent and not being able to make the money from the school. They were like, we clearly can't do this. So they've shut down. However, it's not the death of Santino Bros.
Okay.
Once things start back up, they will buy a new location and the school will start again.
Yeah, it's just kind of scary. We don't know when anything is going to start back up. I myself have been kind of freaking out with what the future is going to look like, right? when am I going to go back to work? When I go back to work, how many clients am I going to have? Like, how many people are going to be down and come to the gym? What is gym life going to look like? It's going to look so different.
Yeah, no, I even joked about that. Like everyone, like, oh, the gym opens back up. I'm like, I'm gonna give y'all 2 weeks and just see what happens.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's other people who feel the same way. Like with not just gym, like you're saying, with almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
We do not know what's gonna happen. We do not have a handle on the virus. It is not at all contained. So just seeing what is gonna be, it's also up in the air, and I'm so thankful that I have like a social media job and a writing job that I can do from home, so I don't have to worry about my income, but like everybody else does. And it Santinos could have closed and done all this, and then it opened, the state opens up next month.
Right. You just don't know. That's why it's hard to make any big decisions at this point. So in Vegas, what's the climate like? Are people listening, or are they protesting? Are casinos open? Like, what's it look like over there?
So the governor just announced that Nevada will be opening up on Saturday, and it'll be like barbershops, hair salons, restaurants are open for diners to come inside and sit down as long as they stay 6 feet away from each other. The casinos haven't opened up yet, but when they open, they will only be allowed to have 50% capacity, and they're going to have all these rules about spacing. It's basically the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And I will not be going out at all until maybe I'll wait 2 weeks and see how everybody else is doing and maybe make some decisions then. But yeah, but I'll tell you what, there's so many modern amenities that make it easier. Like I use Walmart delivery for my groceries, like 90% of what I need I can get delivered, except toilet paper. I have to go out and hunt for single wrapped toilet paper whenever I need some. But other than that, it's not too bad. It's bad for everybody who's in the casino industry, and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, and I'm trying to sit there and think positive that at least when we're in this quarantine during this pandemic, at least we have the ability to connect with each other. I mean, social distancing isn't really that bad.
Yeah. We have it so lucky. Yeah, 100, you're right. Like the Spanish flu, they just had to open a window and be like, I miss you.
Yeah. Send a letter and hope it flies to them or something.
Right.
What else have you been doing other than exercising, cooking? Have you been playing video games?
You know it. Yeah. Been the best. Just 8-hour video game sessions sometimes because
I've been playing way too many. Yeah. Have you been playing Animal Crossing?
No, actually, so I don't have a Switch, and I know that I shouldn't get one because I do still have work to do.
Yeah.
And I know who I am. I get very addicted to things, and if it was as simple as like anywhere I am, I would have it right next to me, and I'd be like, I'll just get a little bit of this, not working. So yeah, I'm not allowed to have a Switch yet till I become more disciplined.
Yeah, I think I clocked in 150 hours of Animal Crossing since I got it when it came out. It's quite a bit.
Yeah,
that was like to your eyes burn.
That was me with Stardew Valley on the Switch because my ex had a Switch, and we were in Japan. I stayed in the house 90% of the time in Japan because I was like, Stardew Valley, I need to gather all my onions. Yeah, I know thyself, and thyself is like, no.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Yeah. Have you been watching any TV shows on Netflix or anything that you recommend? And please don't say Tiger or Thingamajiggy.
No, I don't. I want to be on reality TV, but I don't like watching reality TV. So I've been watching What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, is it good?
Oh my gosh, so good. If you can, see the movie first and then watch the show.
Okay.
But the show is hilarious. So I'm watching it every Saturday with a friend. We watch it together, but it comes out Thursdays, and like not watching it between Thursday and Saturday has become the hardest task and base thing in our friendship. And then Harley Quinn, which is on DC Universe.
Oh yeah.
So
I've seen a few of those. It's pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. So good.
I started watching Game of Thrones with my boyfriend, and we just went through episode 2, and I want to tell him so much. I'm like, how am I not going to spoil anything for the next?
That was me. My most recent ex, he hadn't seen it, and so we started watching it together, and I just sit there like this.
Yeah, it's hard. So hard. You're like, But then I press pause. I'm like, do you understand this? Do you understand this?
I am so glad I'm not the only person who, I was just about to say, and then I'd look at him and be like, did you catch that? Were you paying attention?
Yes.
What's her name? Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, you need to make sure
I did that
you know
I
what's
did
going
that
on.
with my friend in Umbrella Academy. I recently rewatched Umbrella Academy. I'm like, hey, why does this matter? And he's like, what? I'm like, oh my God, you're not getting anything. I'm like, why does the eyeball matter? And he's like, eyeball? What? Anyway.
Yeah, no, it's important. Like, this matters. I'm giving you an Easter egg here. This is my way of spoiling it. So let's meet me halfway.
I'm so glad I'm the only human that I really thought I was a terrible person.
I feel like horrible. It's like, well, I'm not going to tell you why this is important, but this is important.
Right. You're going to need to know this later. Pay attention.
Yeah. Like, I asked him who's his favorite character so far. He said, oh, maybe that Jon Snow guy. I'm like, ah! Oh, it's just
amazing.
It's interesting for me to watch it again, because you remember how innocent Daenerys was, and then how much you hate her at the end. Well, I didn't like her towards the end.
I didn't like her from the get-go. She's crazy.
Her brother, though, was a jerk.
Yes, he was. She has a reason to be crazy, but still. Yeah. I enjoyed watching it season 1 through 4 with him. It's a good show. Even rewatching it, you're like, this is a really good show, the way they develop the characters, blah, blah, blah. And then he kind of started having to watch on his own from season 4. I just couldn't get myself to really watch anymore. I was like, oh, so many things started to go wrong.
You're like, I can't let my heart feel this again.
Yes, exactly.
No. Well, anyway, thank you so much for joining me. It was so good to see you, by the way, and delve a little deeper into your wrestling career. Do you have any, thing to tell the viewers about what you're working on, where they can find you wrestling, where they can watch you wrestle?
Yes. So first, the easiest thing to do is to join my Patreon, patreon.com/Sarah the Rebel. I post the wrestling matches that are online to there, because it can be a little hard to find my matches, because some are on Fight TV, some are on YouTube, some are under different names. So that's really the easiest way to get a hold of everything all in one place. But one match you can look up is, if you look up Empower, like empowering women, Empower Wrestling, Sarah versus Anna Jay, who just got signed to AEW, so congrats to Anna Jay. But that's one match that's up there that you can find pretty easily. So patreon.com/Sarah the Rebel. I stream on twitch.tv/Sarah the Rebel, and everywhere else you can find me, I'm Sarah the Rebel, and Sarah has an H.
Where did you get Sarah the Rebel, by the way?
When I was little, so it's a slightly sad story. I have a different dad than my siblings, and my mom was very strict, and I would get beat a lot. And one day my sister said to me, Sarah, why don't you just be quiet? When she starts going all crazy, why don't you just shut up? And then it won't be as bad for you. And I'm 13 at the time, and I can't really articulate why. Why can't I shut up? And my brother-in-law, they'd been married since I was 7, so he's like an actual brother to me. And he says, she can't help it. She has the Compton gene. She has the rebel gene. As my So the idea that I had this, that from my father, I got this rebelliousness that I couldn't contain. And so ever after, I was Sarah the Rebel, and people dug it, and they started calling me Sarah the Rebel. So I was like, that worked.
I like it. It's cool. It works for you. You look like a rebel. Thanks. Right? All right. Well, thanks again for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. Stay safe over there. Good luck with your book that's soon to be published. Keep us posted on that. Keep on wrestling. Let us know when you're going back out to wrestle.
I will. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and then you can follow me as well at KAORIOUS and check out The Buzz. See you later. Bye, guys.